I'm Ian Richards. Welcome to the SKNAS Week in Review. In this program, we recap major government-related activities over the past week. Coming up, Dr. Colin Cannonier delivers insightful presentation at Prime Minister's Independence Lecture Series. 15 sanitation workers recognized for their invaluable service to the nation. Cabinet ministers inspire students, and gender issues are being strengthened in St. Kitts and Nevis. Those stories and more are next on the SKNIS Week in Review for the period September 6th to 12th, 2019. We begin with efforts to strengthen the successful relationship between the management of Air Canada and officials in St. Kitts and Nevis. Minister of Tourism, the Honourable Lindsay Grant, led a delegation to Montreal last week to explore ways to continue the momentum of large arrivals via the service. Passenger arrivals via Air Canada increased by more than 60% in the first 4 months of 2019 compared to the same period last year. Air Canada currently operates a weekly non-stop service from Toronto's Pearson International Airport to Bastier's Robert L. Bradshaw International Airport on Saturdays. A second weekly non-stop service will be introduced on Tuesdays between February and April 2020. An insightful presentation on education and its broad aspects by Dr. Colin Cannonier on Thursday left the audience at the Sir Cecil Jacobs Auditorium at the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank with much food for thought. Dr. Cannonier was the featured speaker at the Prime Minister's Independence Lecture Series and shared that non-income related benefits have a far greater economic and social impact on our societies relative to the more developed countries.
Education and sports are two important conduits that can lead to opportunities. Education is important and should not be taken for granted. There are multiple pathways to higher learning: vocational, career or technical, college or university, or based on circumstances, taking some time to figure out what you want to do for a career before making a commitment to higher learning. After leaving high school, I spent 4 years working before I was able to earn a Social Security scholarship to pursue undergraduate studies. I believe it was worth the sacrifice because working allowed me to further mature and become more informed in choosing a career path. At the same time, my involvement in sports had provided me with a number of important benefits, such as an inexpensive way to stay healthy, personal development, self-esteem, leadership skills, and camaraderie, which developed into lifelong friendships.
Equal pay for women who perform the same jobs as their male counterparts is one of the many issues that the Department of Gender Affairs is championing as it promotes greater gender issues, human rights, and other related topics. On Wednesday, Acting Director of the Department of Gender Affairs, Celia Christopher, stated that the world is changing and women are being empowered to lead in various fields once dominated by males. She said that attitudes must follow this trend.
Gender is not static, it's fluid, and so the roles are changing, and so we have to now get the understanding that these roles from way back, they're changing. Look, you have chefs, and some of them are the greatest cooks.
Yes.
That was a job that, well, I used to say, it seems as I used to put women name on some of the job, then that is a woman job, that is this and that. Only women can cook, but you got great chefs now.
I think he has always been like
engineers.
That.
No, but you see, back in those times, a man didn't want to be known as a cook because for some reason it attributes something else to his manhood. He don't want to be named as no cook, so he's not going out there and tell nobody he's a cook.
But not now, that is changing
right,
now.
the world changing now.
Yeah. Right.
And you have women who will tell you, oh, well, I don't want to be an electrician and so on. But you have electricians, you have women who are electricians, you have engineers, you have they're driving heavy duty trucks and all of that and so on. So you can say, in today's thing, you cannot now say that this is the role of a man or woman because the role is changed.
Students and teachers in schools across St. Kitts were able to interact with ministers of government on Tuesday and Wednesday when the traditional independence school visits took place. Prime Minister Dr. The Honorable Timothy Harris led his cabinet colleagues, The Honorable Eugene Hamilton, The Honorable Ian Patches-Liburd, and The Honorable Vincent Byron on visits to primary and secondary schools on the northeastern side of the country, while Deputy Prime Minister The Honorable Sean Richards led a delegation consisting of The Honorable Lindsay Grant, The Honorable Wendy Phipps, and Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, The Honorable Akila Byron Nisbet, to schools on the western end on Tuesday, September 10. The various speakers touched on the theme, Unify, Transform, Enrich, Uplifting Communities for Independence 36, and encouraged the students to seize the many opportunities before them and to contribute productively to national development. Prime Minister Harris noted that government will continue to invest in improving the standard of education, and the key aspect of this is enhancing the training of educators.
And that is why very recently the government invested in 50 teachers to engage in the master's program training in education, leadership, and other areas of engagement. For the first time in the history of education has such expenditure come to the fore, where so many are benefiting in postgraduate training for the education sector. It is representative of the kind of heavy investment which we are making. Because we are already yet small, we need to ensure that we have quality human resource to take our country to the next stage of its development.
The Sandy Point Primary School and Outer Limits Athletics clubs based in Sandy Point were the winners in the respective categories that contested the Department of Sports' 36th Independence 10-mile road relay held on Sunday. 8 primary schools participated. The students had a 6-mile run from Cabby Street, Cayon to the Independence Square in Bastille. In the high school club segment, runners from 4 entries faced a 10-mile challenge stretching from Tabernacle to Independence Square. When the dust settled, it was announced that in the primary schools category, the winner was the Sandy Point Primary School, followed by the Dr. William Connor and Dieppe Bay Primary Schools in 2nd and 3rd place respectively. In the high school/club category, the winner was the Outer Limits Athletics Club, followed by the Charles E. Mills Secondary School in 1st place and Fast Twitch Track Club from Bastille in 2nd. More than 100 persons participated. Also on Sunday, sanitation workers across St. Kitts were honored at a special Thanksgiving service dubbed the 17th Annual Sanitation Workers Appreciation Day, organized by the Apostolic Faith Mission at St. Johnston Avenue. It was held under the theme, Health Brings a Freedom Very Few Realize Until They No Longer Have It. Reflecting on the theme for this year's celebration, the Honorable Eugene Hamilton, Minister of Health, said that it is relevant and extremely important, especially as we celebrate the work of sanitation workers.
And this is why it is important of this day to celebrate those who are in the forefront of sanitation work, because they are contributing to the health not only of themselves but of this nation. Health brings a freedom. Very few realize until we no longer have it. And that is true because when the flesh dominates, we do much to ruin our health.
And finally, there was an explosion of talent and praise for God on Sunday as the Ministry of Ecclesiastical Affairs teamed up with Dominion Radio Ministries International to host the first Songs of Praise Gospel Music Festival. The event was held at the Calvary Baptist Tabernacle in Sandy Point and showcased some of the most recognized voices in gospel music and dance in the nation. The event was hailed for bringing together persons from various denominations and Christian ministries. The event has been lauded as a tremendous success. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Ecclesiastical Affairs, Ron Dublin Collins, stated that he was extremely pleased, grateful, and humbled by the overwhelming support of the church community and the general public for this event.
To all those who ministered in song and in dance and in kaiso, amen. We want to give God thanks for you. Put your hands together for all those who ministered throughout the entire evening. This was the first edition of Songs of Praise. We will be back next year, bigger and better.
That's all for this edition of the SKNAS Week in Review. I'm Ian Richards.